Hello, I'm Refashionista Sheri, and today I have a runway full of awesome upcycled skirts for you. We're talking tablecloths, curtains, t-shirts, rugs. Yes, I did say rugs because I'm going to show you how to transform just about anything fabric-y that you have lying around your house into an awesome piece of wearable skirt art, the Refashionista way. But before we jump into that, if you would love to crack open my Refashionista brain for yourself and get some awesome personalized advice on something you're just not sure how to refashion, then I highly recommend checking out my fantastic new, very small group live closet fix sessions. Ooh, that's hard to say. All the info will be down below, and there are very limited spaces available, so go check it out. It is very, very cheap, and I think we're going to have lots of fun. But now it's time for a brand new tutorial, and I'm going to take this frumpy 80s skirt and pair it with this pair of jeans that I absolutely never wear and make an awesome skirt. For this quick and easy project, all you need is a pair of jeans that fit you comfortably, but you're just not feeling anymore, and a lovely skirt that is kind of flowy. This one has an elastic waist, which is fabulous because it does make life a lot easier, but if yours doesn't have an elastic waist, it's okay. It's not that big a deal. So the first thing you want to do is pull out the front pockets, and really, look at that. Look at that. What? Again, I said it a billion times already, but I'll say it again. This is it for the pocket. That's it. Like, look, that's my hand is all the way down, like touching the bottom. Again, I guess it's really not necessary to pull the pockets out. So if you want to do it, you can. Next, you want to flip your jeans over and lay them as flat as possible. And then you just want to chop off the legs, leaving a generous amount below the back pockets if possible. I know some jeans, the pockets are going to be really low, but try to get as much space here as you can for seam allowance. So absolutely do not throw out these chopped denim legs. You can use them for so many things, like, look, they make really cool sleeves, especially if they're a lightweight soft denim like these are. And I'll link down below for my DIY sleeves compilation because there's so many there. You can also just make so many things, like I said, and I have a whole playlist, a whole denim playlist, so that'll be down below for you too. But do not throw these out. Now I have the top of my jeans flipped over once again, so the zipper and the front pockets are facing upward, and I have my skirt, which is currently right side out. And now I am simply going to flip it over top of the jeans, so it's inside out. Now I have the right sides facing, which is exactly what I want. And you see here is the side seam of the skirt, and here's the side seam of the jeans. So I'm just going to match those up like so. And the reason why I prefer using elastic waistbands is if you match everything up below the waistband, you don't have to do any gathering, right? It's already gathered up. You may have to stretch as you stitch a little bit, but then once it's all stitched together, you just chop off the waistband and you have a perfectly gathered skirt. It just makes life so much easier. So I'm going to line those up on both sides, and like I said, do a little bit of stretching as I'm stitching, and then stitch it together, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. For anyone wondering, you can do this the opposite way as well. It's just making sure that the right sides are facing, so you can easily put your jeans top over top of the skirt, and then once again line up those side seams and go stitch it all together. It really is just about what is most comfortable and easiest for you. Once I had it all stitched together with a straight stitch, I chopped off that elastic waistband, then I went over my straight stitch with a zigzag stitch, and then I cleaned up all the edges with my pinking shears to help slow down and prevent fraying because I don't have a fancy serger. And now we can flip it out. Look, how adorable does that look? Let's go try it on and style it up. How totally quick and amazingly easy was that to make. And it's super cutie patootie. And best of all, you can like throw that on with a t-shirt and a pair of flip-flops in the hot weather, or you can layer it up for the cooler weather. So it's kind of like an all-season refashion, which we love around here. If you want to level up your skills even more, please be sure to check out my Refashioning 101 ebook, because everything is in there, including literally over 100 tutorials that are so super easy. You will literally go, oh, why didn't I think of that? The link will be down below. But now it's time to dive into making a whole bunch of cool skirts from what you have around the house. Denim maxi skirts have made a comeback. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to transform a pair of loose-fitting jeans into an awesome denim maxi skirt, and then you too can be right on trend. If you've been with me for a while, you already know I am a content creating monster, and I put out new tutorials and articles and posts every single day on my blog and channel and social media. So whenever I find a new idea, or what I think is a new idea, I hop on over to my blog and I search for it just to make sure I have not done something identical or very, very similar before. So I was super surprised that I've never actually created a maxi skirt out of a pair of jeans before. I never have. I've done loads of other denim skirt type of projects, but never an actual maxi skirt. So yay, we are doing this one for the very first time. It's amazing. Okay, so let's get started. What you need are, of course, your jeans, and I'm using a pair that actually fit me quite loose and down low around my hips. They are men's jeans, and I just thought these would make a good Refashionista victim. So you need your jeans, your seam ripper, and of course your sewing gear. Because these are quite long on me, I'm just going to chop off the bottom hems, and then that way it should hopefully be easier to get rid of all of these seams with my trusty vintage seam ripper. And as always, these shall be going into my stash of chopped hems, and then in the future will probably be transformed into denim bangles or rings. So because I chopped off my hems, it's actually so much easier to remove this inseam here, because we got to go from one bottom leg here all the way up around the crotch and all the way down through to the other leg. And you just want to open up that entire inseam. This is one of the times where I am very happy with whoever made these jeans, because once I got really started here, it turns out I can just pull, and that whole length of thread is going to come out, and then I just have to pull it from the other side, and then hopefully this other seam is going to be just as easy. This is just so satisfying. Alrighty, the legs are totally open, but you can see here, like, the back bottom area is super bulky, and we have a little bit of bulk going on here in the crotch area as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up this front seam right under the zipper, just until that bulk can easily be folded over, if that makes sense. So probably, let's see, let's fold it there to about here. All right, it is all open, and I did end up going all the way up to right below the bottom of the zipper seam here. And you can see what I mean. This now folds in nicely behind, and then this is going to come over the top, and it's just going to be a really cool little detail in the front. And so now I'm just going to go stitch down here, following the exact same stitch lines that I removed, and here as well. And then we're going to do something similar to the back. Look at how perfect that came out here. It is so nice and flat, and it looks pretty cool. So I think I'm just going to repeat this process on the back side as well. I've opened up the back seam here to just a little bit past the bottom of the pockets. And when I fold it over, it goes flat, it looks fine and everything. But you know what? Look at this. I don't quite think I need to have a big slit in the front and then a big slit in the back as well, because it's just going to look like cut up jeans, right? So I think I've come up with a better idea. I have my jeans inside out, and now I'm just going to flip them. So I have my jeans inside out with one of the sides facing up. And you can see here, there's an awful lot of bulk in the bottom area, which I don't need. And you know what? I've been trying this on and taking it off over and over and over, and the waist really is too big for me. I don't have to undo the button and the zip to get it on and off. So I think I am going to do a little 2-for-1 for myself here, and I'm going to take in the waist and close up the back at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this back belt loop. I'm just going to stitch it on again when it's done, and then I'm going to just simply stitch all the way down here right between the pockets. So it's very important that this is lined up evenly, and I'm just going to go all the way down until almost the very bottom, because I still want a bit of a slit in the back, just not so much as it would be if I did the other version. So you can see I did go ahead and stitch all the way down, and I did a gentle angling curve here at the point where I wanted the slit in the back to be, and I did first a straight stitch, then as always I did my tight wide zigzag over top of my straight stitch, because I don't have a serger and it really does help to slow down the fraying, especially with denim. And now I'm just going to go chop off all of this excess fabric here because it's quite bulky. And again, here is a tip. Make sure after each step you're trying this on just to check the fit, because as I said, if I wouldn't have done that, I just would have done the back the same, and I would have ended up with a waist that was too big and two huge slits, one in the front and one in the back. Not a good look. And as I said I would, I stitched on that belt loop again, and it covers up the seam here at the top, which is very cool. Okay, I still can't believe in nearly 2,000 tutorials, articles, sustainable style posts, I haven't shared a upcycled jeans to maxi skirt tutorial. I'm in shock about that. But this came out absolutely perfect, and it is so comfortable. I cannot tell you. Now I know some of you may be thinking, the slit in the front is a little bit too generous, but you know what? It is no shorter than any of my short skirts, so I don't have an issue with it at all. If you do, all you have to do is make that fold a little bit deeper in the front, and it makes the slit lower. It's really, really easy. Or you can fill in that whole slit with just a simple triangle of fabric. How cool would that look? Very cool. I think that might be another tutorial coming up. We'll see. These fit me perfectly. I love them so much. And you can see that I mended them and mended them and mended them and mended them. But unfortunately, this behind area here just couldn't take any more mending. So now it's time to upcycle them into something totally different. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make these jeans into an awesome Y2K style ruffled skirt. So let's get making. Okay, so to create this absolutely adorable salute to Y2K fashion, which somehow has come back in style once again, all you need are your jeans and your sewing gear. That's it. And I have mine inside out already, and that is so I can show you just, you know, how many times these have been mended and patched and mended and patched. That's quite a few. And let me know down below if you have this same issue as me. I don't blow out my jeans so much in the thighs, although I do have a lovely mending video for that. I will link it down below for you. But for me, it's more here in the kind of bottom area. I don't know why it gets blown out here. I don't even want to think about maybe why, but let's just ignore that anyway. So yeah, you can see it's just not comfortable anymore, and it's actually starting to go a little bit here again, and I just can't add any more patches. It's getting quite uncomfortable. So what do you do when you can't mend anymore? Well, you transform it into something else that you want to wear. So let's just get started doing that. Okay, so I've tried to make these as flat as possible here, but of course the patches keep popping up. But the first thing you want to do is simply chop off that patched up or destroyed area of your jeans, or if you're using like jeans that aren't destroyed, you just want to chop it a few centimeters under the pockets. You want to completely get rid of this kind of bulky area on the jeans. Okay, so this didn't come out super straight, so all I'm going to do is fold the top of my jeans in half as evenly as possible, making sure everything is once again as flat and neat as I can get it. And you can kind of see here, it's quite a bit that needs to be chopped off there. That was really not great cutting. But then all you have to do is chop off the excess bit here, and your jeans will be a lot more even. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the top bit and set it aside for now and grab those denim legs that we chopped off, because this is what we're going to make the rest of the skirt out of. So the first thing I'm going to do is just chop out this crotch area, because we really don't need it at all, and it's bulky and annoying. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect whatsoever at this point. So first I'm going to chop off both of the hems, and now I'm going to chop out the thick seam here as well as the seam on the other side of the pant legs. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 lengths of fabric. So now let's go make this into a skirt. Okay, so I have 2 pieces from one leg, and I've popped them together with right sides facing, and these are like not even at all. I want to have nice smooth rectangles, so I lined up the straightest edge as best as I could, and we're now going to go chop this so it's going to be relatively even, and we'll be able to make some nice ruffles out of it. Okay, so I now have 4 relatively even-ish rectangular lengths of fabric, and you can see here one set is definitely wider than the other set, and that's simply because of how I chopped off the seams. That's just what's going to happen. And so I think we're going to start with the thicker ones, and all I'm going to do is stitch this into a loop. So that just means I'm going to stitch this open end together, and then I'm going to stitch this open end together, and we're going to create a big fabric loop. Okay, you can see here I have created my 2 big fabric loops, and because I don't have a serger that finishes off my edges nicely, and you can see this denim is definitely fraying here, I did go ahead and I did a straight stitch, then I zigzagged over top, and then I finished off the edge here by trimming it with my pinking shears. And if you don't know what those are, this is what they are, and it's just, you know, zigzag tooth scissors, and it really does help to slow down the fraying. It doesn't prevent it entirely, but it definitely helps to slow it down. Okay, it is now finally time to attach these ruffles and create our skirt. So I had a bit of a conundrum, and I was thinking, okay, I could stitch this together with right sides facing, and then the seam would kind of be hidden like that. But then I was thinking, you know, this is fraying a lot, so let's work with the fray and let's stitch it with the inside sides together. So then that fray seam will be on the outside, which will add another layer of awesomeness to this already adorable little ruffle skirt. Okay, I am a little bit embarrassed to admit just how long it took me to figure out how to put these together so I would have my right sides on the outside, but also that, you know, fray seam on the outside. That was crazy. That took me way too long. But anyway, I got it. So now you guys don't have to faff around trying to figure it out, because I figured it out. Okay, so You need to have the top part of your jeans inside out and one of your fabric loops right side out. And then that way, when it's all stitched together and you fold down your fabric loop, it will be correct with the inside to the inside and the outside facing the outside along with that seam. Okay, I got it. I figured it out. Now we can move on to doing our little ruffles. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love doing pin tucks. That's pretty much the only way I do my ruffles because it's just so easy. So for my pin tucks, I simply line up the side seams like so, and I do that on both sides just to make my life a little tiny bit easier. And then all I have to do is do my little pin tucks all along with this excess hanging fabric here until it's all nice and lined up. So that's what I'm going to do now. And again, I just eyeball this, and sometimes I get it right on the first try and sometimes it takes me a couple tries, but it's just the easiest way that I taught myself how to do this. And like I said, it is so super duper easy. And once you have one side done, then you know the amount and the size of the pin tucks to do on the other side. So I successfully have all of my pin tucks ready to go, and now I'm just going to go do a really simple straight stitch all the way around, and then I'm going to check it, and if everything's fine, I'll repeat my process with the zigzag, and then it should be done, and we'll put on the next layer. Okay, this actually worked, and I think it is going to look phenomenal once it is all frayed. So now I'm going to go zigzag this, and then I'm going to attach the second layer ruffle to the bottom of this one, doing the exact same method that I used to attach the top to the first ruffle. Okay, so it's all stitched together, and I was just having a thought here that because I put like the finished edge here on the inside, I won't have any bulky seams to worry me or bother me, because I don't know about you, but that's something that super bothers me when interior seams on garments are like bulky and you're just so conscious of them all the time. Anyway, that's my weird little mental thing. Look how adorable that is. This came out absolutely perfectly, and I cannot wait to go try it on and style it up. I now have an adorable, kind of ruffled but definitely frayed hem skirt that I can wear. And what did I do? I made it from a pair of jeans that I simply could not wear anymore, and now I have something I can wear from something I couldn't wear. And I've repeated that too many times, I'm sorry, but this is the beauty of upcycling and refashioning. If you have something you don't like because it doesn't fit, or you just don't like how it looks, or it's damaged beyond repair, then transform it into something else you can actually wear. Today, we are transforming 2 dollar store throw rugs and a zipper into an awesome fashion statement. So the first thing you want to do, because these are dollar store rugs, is go through and check for any loose threads. If you find some, then knot them as I've done here and trim off those excess bits. Next, decide which rug you'd like for the front of your garment and which one you'd like for the back, and then lay them together on a flat surface with the front rug on top. Next, we need to find the center of our rugs, and the easiest way to do this is to simply fold them in half as evenly as possible, and then place a pin in the folded corner. And then when you open it up again, you have pretty much the center of your project. Next, you want to grab a skirt that you love the fit of And that also has a similar kind of stretch content to your rugs. Now, my rugs do not have a lot of stretch to them, so that's why I have chosen this denim skirt. It has about the same amount of stretch. You can see here, they stretch about the same amount, which is perfect. So then I know that my rug skirt should, fingers crossed, fit me in a similar way to my template skirt. So as you can see, I already have lined up my center denim skirt button with my center marking pin here. And now all I have to do is mark the sides of my skirt onto my rugs. Now, you can use pins to do this. You can use marking chalk, marking pens, whatever you have on hand. Once you're happy with your template marks, then you can go ahead and stitch the rugs together following the lines. Once you have your side seams complete, then I highly recommend slipping your soon-to-be skirt on to check if you do in fact need a zipper. Because my fabric here is not stretchy, I absolutely need to put in my zipper. So I want my zip to actually be an exposed zip, and I'm going to put it on the back. So here I still have my center pin mark. And I'm just going to grab my zipper, and this is actually upcycled from another garment that it had been removed from. So this really is like a no-waste project. Right, going to line that up, tuck my little zipper flaps back there. And like I said, I really like the look of an exposed zipper, especially on this type of kind of chunky fabric. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm simply going to now pin it in place and then stitch it on. So my zipper is stitched on, and now I'm simply going to open it and carefully chop out the fabric behind it, like so. So, of course, because this is a woven rag rug, as soon as I chopped on through, it started fraying. So I've pulled out a few of the frayed threads, and I'm just knotting them at the base of my zipper. Okay, I've done 3 knots now, so that should be nice and secure. Then go ahead and trim off all of those little excess hanging bits from beside the zipper, making sure you do not actually chop through your original seam here. And then, if you'd like, you can go and do another quick seam just along the edge to make sure that it's not going to fray anymore. So now that the zipper is done, we can figure out what to do with these flappy sides. So I'm going to turn my skirt sideways, and then I will have much better access to both of the side pieces here, the front and the back. And now I am simply going to kind of get all of these fringes out from under and pin it in place once I have them kind of separated here from the side seam. Pin it here. The other one on the back. There we go. And then kind of pull that and smooth that as nicely as I can. And do the same at the bottom here. Pin that in place. And this one as well. And now I am simply going to stitch straight down from the front corner all the way around the bottom and back up to the back corner. And I'm going to leave this top bit open. Once I had one side all nicely stitched together, I flipped it over and repeated the whole process on the other side. And then I went even further. Ta-da! And I stitched a couple of straight lines across the front and the back to create pockets. Pockets. I have pockets on the front and the back now. Now I think it is definitely time to go try this lovely fringy pocket rag skirt on. And here's an oldie but goodie tutorial to transform a t-shirt into a skirt with pockets. And I am, as always, redoing the voiceovers because back in 2013 when I first started my channel, the sound quality was pretty cringy. So for this, you need an oversized t-shirt, your sewing machine, and something to use as a waistband. Your first step is to simply stretch out the neckline of the t-shirt so you can pull it up over your hips. Next, you want to flip the shirt inside out and stitch around the sleeves in a curve. These are going to become your pockets. Next, you want to grab the bottom of a t-shirt to use as a waistband and flip it over top of the neckline with the right sides facing, and then simply go and stitch them together. For this one, I actually stitched the outside as well for extra strength, and I used a contrasting thread, and it gave it a little bit more detail. And as you can see, here I am standing on a stool, so you can actually see the skirt, but it's adorable. So today I'm going to show you how to transform a groovy sweatshirt into a fab bubble skirt. For this easy peasy project, you'll need a funky old sweatshirt, a t-shirt that fits you comfortably around the waist, your scissors, and your sewing gear. So your first step is to simply chop through under those underarm seams to separate the top from the bottom. Then you want to grab your t-shirt and repeat the same process, chopping straight on through under those underarm seams to separate the top from the bottom. To create a super comfortable waistband, take the bottom of that t-shirt, fold it back over onto itself, and stitch the open end together. Pop your cool new waistband over top of the bottom of that sweatshirt with the right sides facing and the side seams lined up, and then go ahead and stitch them together. Use a tight, wide zigzag, and as you're stitching, stretch the fabric so it matches up. Once you have it all stitched together, flip it right side out and do a quick, tight, wide zigzag over that outside seam for extra strength and to help prevent any fraying. Then go wear it. What do you do with a skirt that's just too short and another that's simply too tight around the waist? I know, I transform them into a groovy maxi skirt with my fab tutorial. For this fast and fabulous project, all you need is a short skirt that fits you comfortably around the waist, a long skirt, scissors, and your sewing gear. So your first step is to simply flip the long skirt inside out and chop off the waistband area. Now, as you can see, my long skirt had the actual outside skirt fabric as well as a liner fabric. Now, luckily, my short skirt also has a liner fabric, so we're going to start by adding this liner to the short skirt liner. So my short skirt liner and my long skirt liner are actually the same width, which makes life so much easier for the next step. Pop your liners together with right sides facing and the side seams lined up, and then go ahead and stitch them together with a tight, wide zigzag. Using the zigzag stitch still allows the fabric to have that bit of stretch that might be needed when you're pulling the skirt on and off. Et voila, the liner for your soon-to-be maxi skirt has now been extended. Now, just like the liner fabric, you want to go ahead and grab that long skirt fabric and pop it over top of the short skirt with right sides facing and those side seams lined up. Now, usually I'm not big on pinning, and if I can get away with it, I absolutely do not use pins. But because my top skirt fabric here was pleated, I had to really carefully gather all the pleats up and pin it carefully in place so it would evenly match up with the width of my shorter skirt. And now all I got to do is go ahead and stitch them together with that tight wide zigzag. Once you have both skirts stitched together, flip them right side out and marvel at how awesome this looks. Now, I'm pretty darn proud of myself because I was dealing with sequins and slippery pleats and I still managed to make this skirt and it looks fantastic. How absolutely phenomenal did this skirt come out? Now, as with all of my upcycling refashion tutorials, I actually never know how things are going to come out, and I have an idea in my head how I want it to come out, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and other times it's somewhere in between, but man, this came out exactly perfect. I am super proud of myself for dealing with sequins and pleated fabric. And here's another awesome oldie but goodie, super simple upcycled curtain skirt tutorial. So you want to grab a curtain that of course you can comfortably wrap around your body, as well as enough elastic for the waistband, your scissors, and your sewing gear. If your curtain has tabs on it, you can simply just chop them off. And then, of course, you want to give that chopped edge a nice clean hem, especially for sheer fabrics, because they're going to fray. And because mine was sheer, I folded it in half lengthwise, so it kind of doubled it up a bit, and it wasn't so sheer anymore. I then laid it down on a flat surface and I measured out the size that I needed for my elastic waist casing and popped a pin in the end there. Then I simply went and stitched straight down the length of the waist area of my skirt, and we're almost done. Now you just want to fold the skirt in half again, and you want to make sure that you have the seams lined up together, and then you're just going to go stitch straight down, making sure you do not seal up your waistband casing, because now we're going to pop a pin in our elastic and feed it all the way through the waistband casing. And seriously, now we really are almost done. Next, you want to, of course, stitch the ends of the elastic together, then seal up that little open area in your waistband. And you know what? You're finished and you have an absolutely adorable new curtain skirt. This beauty from 2014 is showing how to easily transform a round tablecloth into an awesome circle skirt. So of course you need a large round tablecloth, a t-shirt that is the same width as your waist, and your scissors and your sewing gear. So to create your waist hole in this tablecloth, you want to fold it in half twice so it looks like a triangle, and then simply chop off a little bit of the top of the triangle and try it on. If it is a little bit too snug on you, you can always refold it and then chop off some more and just try it on until it fits and goes over your hips easily. Then grab your t-shirt, and your t-shirt should be a little bit smaller than the width of your hips. Then chop off the bottom half of the t-shirt, fold it in half onto itself, and stitch those open edges together, and you've just created an awesomely comfortable yoga-style waistband. Pop it over the top of that circle that you chopped out of the tablecloth, and then go stitch them together. I also always like to do a tight wide zigzag over the outside seam for extra security. Now you know what? Let's hear what young Sheri had to say at the end of the video. For more fantastic tutorials, check out my crafty blog at awesomesauceasshattery.com. And until next time, I'll catch ya on the zigzag. This has lovely white dots all over it, and this is, patterned with white holes. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to see if I can somehow transform this into something awesome to wear with this. And you know what? I bet you it's going to be a really quick and easy project too. For this super fast and oh so simple project, all you need is your thrifted curtain, some elastic for your waistband, and some optional vintage trim. Oh, and of course your sewing gear. So first I thought I would simply be able to open up the end of the top of the curtain sheath here and pull out this plastic bit, but the entire thing is stitched all the way down in multiple places, and when I tried to carefully remove it, you can see it started ripping the lace of the curtain. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop off this entire top part of the curtain to get rid of this weird plastic bit. So I've already gone ahead and cut my waistband elastic to size plus a few centimeters for seam allowance. And now all I'm going to do is measure it here to create my waistband casing. And you always want to fold it down about a centimeter more than you actually need, so you have space for stitching. Okay, now all I'm going to do is go stitch this all the way down to create my elastic case. Okay, so my waistband casing is complete and it looks great. So now I could, stitch the ends together and put my waistband in, but because I'm me, I'm going to do a little bit extra with this. And the bottom edge is just like cut, so it doesn't look great, but I think it could look absolutely fantastic with this stitched along the bottom edge. And how cute is that going to be? So I'm going to quickly go do this. That looks so much better, and it really does finish off this hemline here. So now let's get going and finish off the whole skirt. So usually when I'm making simple skirts like this with the elastic waistband casing, I will put the right sides together and then stitch the open ends together just below this elastic casing. And then I go back and insert my elastic casing and then stitch up the open ends of the elastic casing. Okay, I hope that makes sense. But I have seen other people who put the elastic in first, and I don't know why. I've never tried it, but we're going to try that today and see if it's going to be any easier and maybe cut out an extra step from, how I usually do it. So it's going to take me a little while, I think, to get this in here because there's so many holes in this fabric. So I'm going to go and get my elastic all the way through, and then we'll see what the next step is. Okay, so I have my elastic all through, and I did go ahead and stitch the ends together. I've tried it on, and I actually need it to be a little bit tighter, so I'm simply going to fold the right sides together, and then I can actually take off about another centimeter of the elastic. And now I'm just going to go stitch all the way down to close up the open ends of the skirt. And then we can go try it on and style it up. This, again, I have made curtain skirts before, but this one definitely takes the cake. It is so super floofy and floaty, and of course light and airy because it's full of friggin' holes. But I think it looks so cool with my polka dot vintage blouse that, I just got, and I love it so much. Although I'm not sure if I want to keep the shoulder pads. Let me know down below what you think I should do. I think it looks pretty cool though. For this super fast but super funky project, all you need is a awesome vintage round tablecloth. And I've had this one for years, and I just love this so much with the fringe on it, and the pattern is so super 70s cool. Plus, you need a t-shirt that is a little bit too small for you. And your sewing gear, of course. You can't forget your sewing gear. So first, you just want to make sure that your tablecloth wraps comfortably around your body, because if it doesn't, then, the skirt's not going to work very well. Next, grab that t-shirt that is a little bit too small for you and check that the bottom part of the t-shirt can rather comfortably, maybe with a little bit of stretching, go from one side of your body around to the other side of your body, because we are going to use this comfy bottom half of the shirt to create a very, very lovely, comfortable yoga style waistband. So let's get making. So now we need to create our hole in the center of the tablecloth so we can put our waistband on, and then the skirt's going to be done. It's that simple. Now I love these type of circular tablecloths that have the nice circular pattern in the center, because it really helps as the template and a guide, because you know this is the center of the tablecloth. So going to fold this as evenly in half as I can. Okay, and then just kind of hold it up and see, can I simply just cut out the center of this? Maybe not. So let's go do it, you know, properly, I guess. So when I say properly, I don't really mean measuring and everything, because I really follow the eyeball method. I don't measure things usually, so let me know down below if you do that as well, if you prefer to just kind of guesstimate and eyeball things, or do you do things really properly with nice tailor's measures and rulers and math? Let me know down below. Okay, so my eyeball method is to simply fold the skirt in half, or skirt, so it's not a skirt yet, fold the tablecloth in half twice. So we have here once, and then I'm folding it in half one more time. So I have made a lovely kind of rounded triangle shape. And then I'm just gonna cut off the tip here of the triangle and pretty much just guesstimate how much I have to cut off. And then I'm gonna go slip it on over my hips and see if it's gonna fit. La-la. Oh, hey, look at this. Poncho. I mean, come on. How easy would that be? To just, you know, cut a hole in a round tablecloth? You got a poncho. Ah. Anyway, this isn't a poncho. It's a skirt. Okay. So, this, I can already tell, is probably not going to be wide enough, but I think it's always better to cut less than I think I need, and then if I need more, I will go back and cut more. And there we go. I definitely need to cut some more. Okay, so I have my t-shirt, I have my scissors, and because I like to kind of fold in half, double up my t-shirt waistbands, I'm going to be cutting my shirt right under the underarm seams here. So now I have a kind of just t-shirt fabric tube here, and I'm going to take the raw edge and pull it to the inside. So I'm just really folding it to the inside on both sides. The easiest way to do it is to line up the side seams as best as you can. You know, some t-shirts aren't made super straight, and this is one of them. If you look there, that doesn't look very nice. So let's see what we can do to straighten that out a little bit. All right, there we go. You can see here, yeah, that's not very straight at all. So I'm going to trim this off, this excess fabric here. So now I'm just going to go stitch all of this around just to secure these kind of open edges together. Ooh, and my comfy yoga style waistband is now complete and ready to be popped over top of the skirt bottom. Alrighty, so we're going to flip it inside out, and just like with, you know, pretty much everything, we're gonna pop the two items together with the right sides facing and the raw edges here, the bottom edges lined up. Shake it down, and now all I have to do is go stitch all the way around, and my skirt is seriously going to be done. So let's do it. Et voila, my beautiful yoga waistband circle skirt is complete. So I'm gonna go steam this quickly, and then let's style it up. This is another one that came out so much better than I thought it would. I mean, the fact that I can wear it as a skirt and as an adorable poncho. I'd like styling it as a skirt though. I think it would maybe be best in like a westerny kind of theme. I don't know. Let me know. What do you think of how I styled it with my vintage top and hat? And I don't know. You let me know. How would you style this as a skirt? I mean, the fringes are just kind of screaming cowgirl to me. So you see, you do not have to go buy new. You don't even have to buy new to you at the thrift store. You can simply use what you have to make what you want. And that is a lovely segue to the mess here. You've probably noticed behind me, beside me, just everywhere down here in my little basement studio, because I am in the process of doing another 30 days of refashions for my birthday month of September. And that means from September 1st to September 30th, every single freaking day, I will be sharing a brand new rockin' Refashionista video. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit the notification bells. Sign up at refashionistasheri.com because every week I'll be sending out a roundup of an email that'll have all of the tutorials from each week linked in it. And also, like I said at the beginning, if you want to crack open this Refashionista's brain and get some personalized help with your closet dilemmas, then check out my, what's it called? I keep forgetting what I call it. I just made this. My limited space live closet fixes. I don't know. Help me think of a new name. That's terrible. That's a terrible name, right? Exclusive closet fixes, whatever. Think of something else, please, and I will add it to the page, but the link is down below for that. And space is very limited, so sign up. It's super cheap. Also, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to talk to me virtually live in person, then head on over and download my rockin' Refashioning 101 ebook. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag. Oh yeah, if you want to see your name in this lovely list here, you can join my channel and access some wonderful channel membership perks.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.